So, starting my ministry, I had to go through a lot of, processing to make sense of all the things that have gone into making me who I am, and how I stand in regards to religion, and as a founder of a spiritual faith or understanding. When I first started really truly understanding that God would be there if I were to speak, and I understood that my personal need for Him to understand me in regards to the truth and religion was very important. And it took 15 years of silence, but specifically it took 10 years from the day my daughter died to the day that I truly understood that God was going to be with me, and that He truly honored, not just honored me, but showed me that He was aligned with my heart. And I'm going to speak about what that is, because I think more important than anything that I might say, trying to tell you about this foundation that mysteriously is exempt from any kind of discussion over the last however long we have supposedly believed that Jesus is the Son of God. I've known how special what I have is. However, I also knew firsthand that it wasn't just my own group that betrayed me, that wished the worst on me. So it wasn't just one sect of Christianity that betrayed me. It wasn't just one group of people. When I was excommunicated from that group, I had a Facebook group called the Son of God. And this was a group where people could come to this group, and from various denominations. There were Unitarian, there were Oneness, there were Trinitarian, there were Jehovah's Witness, Arian. Also, there were different groups that were involved, different people. And while I don't know them, I didn't sit down with them, I don't know if they're actually normal people or if they're really just questionable people. What I did remember was when my daughter was having her open heart surgery, that was the one place that I wasn't excommunicated from as a brother, So I said, hey guys, my daughter's going into surgery. Please pray for her. And on that post in the group, there were people arguing against my heretical doctrines. So the experience that I had caused me to be so adverse to the thought of presenting myself in the religious realm. So for years, that was the cycle. Is if I thought of my daughter's death, I thought of religious people and what they did and what they said. And if I thought of religious people, I thought of my daughter. And that's how it was locked up for years and years. After my daughter passed away, I found out a lot of things, made videos, and people came to me, told me things, validated what I was thinking I was seeing, and all the things that happened from there. I made a video upon hearing that the man who served me court papers regarding my doctrine, he took away the boy that I raised is a cult, in an organization, a religious organization. And that man who served me the court documents, he passes away 6 months after I make my first video exposing this man's duplicity. When I heard about his passing away, I made a video and I said, in the way that his ministry ended in shame, the new one who took over, the new minister, this new minister being the man who preached my daughter's funeral while orchestrating the alienation of the boy that I raised in that organization. This very man, I spoke in the video and I said, and you, to that new person, the new guy, I said, your ministry begins in shame. And that was years ago. But it wasn't until 10 years after my daughter's death that I got a notification on my phone, and for some reason I missed it for the last 9 years, but it said, so-and-so's birthday is today. Wish him a happy birthday or whatever. And that's when I realized that I couldn't get away from the religious spirit. I couldn't get away from, it was not in my calling to think that I'm not supposed to look at it, and to think that I'm not supposed to stand in opposition to it. And the reason why is because the very person who preached my daughter's funeral, his birthday is August 8th, which is the day my daughter died. And when I saw that, I realized that as much as I hated the religious aspect of humanity, let's say, as much as I didn't want to even, cast pearl to swine and tell a Christian world that Jesus is actually the Son of God, as much as I felt betrayed and used by people that I actually loved and served with care, and I served with love, with a genuine intention for their well-being, for their best interests, I realized that God honored what I said. He honored when I said that the man who passed away and his ministry ended in shame, and the one who was stepping into his role, taking his seat, was sitting in shame from the beginning of his ministry. But what God did was he showed me that this man didn't begin his ministry in shame. This man's birthday, the day that he was born, was birth for shame. As crazy as that sounds, as crazy as that may sound, what I saw is that the man whose actions, his own actions that he chose for himself, were already foretold and shown to be orchestrated in this whole clock of sacred time, to where me, a guy who doesn't have a religious background, but I had a daughter who passed away, and I had this doctrine that I received that got me excommunicated from this place that was actually a very wicked place that exercises sorcery. And the bishopric that goes against me moves in such a way that validates a prophecy that I speak. For me to see something that was sealed off to me for until 10 years after my daughter's death, that shows me that God is not finished, and I have to speak the very thing that I was excommunicated over, the very thing that made me not want to even look at them and actually not want to give them the message. God validates through the death date of my daughter, and that's why I am here. I went ahead and trademarked the book of Elisha, you know, because if you're going to do something like this, you might as well go hard. So I got the trademark book of Elisha. Now, I say, even in my book, the word of the Lord sent me to speak. I tried to run and pass through fire. It began on the eve of Passover 2010. I was reading John 16:13. The Spirit of truth will not speak on his own authority, but whatever he hears, he will speak. At that moment, a weight descended onto the top of my head. Now I say here, the eve of Passover. Now this is a Jewish date. This is a Jewish calendar date. This is not Easter. This is the actual Jewish day of Passover. I say it right here. But what just happened was, on the day of Pentecost, I just received the trademark. I just received it at 7 something p.m. from the government website database or whatever. That book of Elisha is now registered to me. It could have been, it could have been 5 p.m. that afternoon. It wouldn't have counted as the day as the nighttime, which I think is a beautiful thing, because I'm not telling myself to do this. I'm not telling myself that I want to be a religious leader. I'm not telling myself what to do. I'm following the signs, and I'm following the fact that a loving God who heard me in my pain validated that, yes, what I said came to pass in a way that it showed me that the God who took my daughter is caring for her. And so my ministry is, it's something that was not birthed or was not certified. I didn't go to school for this. I'm actually starting a foundation, and it's spiritual genetics. The core of this ministry is not necessarily like an apologetic or argumentative type of vibe. It's not necessary. I think once people see how Jesus is the Son of God based on definitions that were intended when they were speaking these words, that there won't be contention. There's going to be a connection in the assembly. And I do believe that in order to truly grasp what is written in this book, we as a people are going to have to distance ourselves from church, and we are going to have to identify as the assembly. And that can only happen when we're on sacred time, when we go back to the Jewish calendar, when we go back to Jewish customs and not to the law that we have never been under as Gentiles, but to be grafted into the assembly as children that were of the anointed lineage. And, you know, again, that doesn't mean to follow the way of Pharisee or be religious. The tying in of me preaching this gospel of the Son of God and seeing how I received it on Passover, and that the book of Elisha name of my ministry is registered now, protected by the US government, and I received the trademark registration on Pentecost. My publication goes live at 4:44 on December 24th. The number 250 come up 3 times of the documents, and then I see that it's the 250th year of our military foundation, and now on July 4th, it'll be the 250th year of our nation. And the disclosure of what God has said to me, what I have been called to do, and all these things, they're coming more freely ever since I learned that the house that burned down in my past, that I had been running from and kept largely outside the scope of my life, the origin of that darkness was a place, a house on Highway 10 and 18 in Vale, V-A-L-E, Vale, North Carolina. And the scar of that house, it was burned down about 30 years ago, and it still remains. Me with my background in rap, I'm a rapper. As a rapper, I understand that all these things are like parts of a story that are like incredibly undeniable. And I am Elisha the prophet, bringing Book of Elisha at a time when all the forces are converging on America. The prince lives here. The Pope is American. The unifying of America with Greenland and Canada and Mexico are upon us. All the things that are happening, and there's a new doctrine around that shows you how Jesus is the Son of God by a guy who says that he's opened the Daniel scroll. I welcome you to head on over to bookofelisha.org, where this book is ready to be listened to live. You can literally just press a button and listen to it. You don't even have to be on the website. You don't have to put in any of your personal information. You can see it and listen to it right there. It's built in it's an app. Try the spirit of this book, The Son of God, an introduction to spiritual genetics. Now, this is the first chapter of a 19-page book that's unreleased. And it will be added now that things are moving forward, but I'm not in a hurry. What I'm in a hurry for is to get 1 million people to read this book, to understand how Jesus is the Son of God. So with that, God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being patient and listening through to hear. I'm not a YouTuber giving you a positive, uplifting message that you've already heard that plugs you into what you already know. What we're doing here is we are coming out of Babylon. We are meeting on the way, and we are looking eye to eye, and we are saying, this is the way to the King. Go this way. And we have the responsibility to share this message. If this is the message, if this is the truth, there is a responsibility to share it with the end of the world, everyone in the world, so that we can bring him back. So God bless you.